The opinions expressed on the Custody Queen Show are for informational purposes only and are not a substitute for personal, professional legal advice. The persons discussed are fictional and not based on actual clients.
Thought it was love, had kids in between. You can count on us, we're the Custody Queens. Yeah, you can count on us, we're the Custody Queens.
We're back. It is Kristen Holstrom, and I am here with Sam McBride and one of my favorite employees, Alisha Madden. And we have a great show today. We're going to do a little bit about behind the scenes with the Custody Queens, and we're also going to go through the intake process in more detail. So if you're thinking about hiring a family law attorney, if you just want some questions answered, if you have trial in 2 months, we're going to cover how you go about making this all happen. But before we get there, I just want to start with something positive, positive Kristen today. And we're going to go over, some highs and lows that the three of us have been through the last week. And I encourage everyone listening, take a minute, get a journal, write your high, write your low. We love hearing about what other people are going through because life is not always lemonade.
Yeah, so who's going to start this off? Are we going to put Alisha in the hot seat?
Yeah, I say let's put Alisha in the hot seat.
All right, what's the worst thing that happened to you this week? Alisha, what's your low?
My low, I would say, is recently, as you ladies know, my father has been recently diagnosed with dementia. And so it's hard dealing with that and seeing him, the rock of our family, just sort of soften, and it's hard watching my mother, who's been with this man for 47 years, just kind of take a turn for the worse. And he gets so frustrated and angry when he can't remember just the things that he's known for years. And so I would say that's definitely a low, trying to deal with dementia. And it's not just him that's going through it, it's our entire family that's actually going through it.
It's definitely a family disease. I can tell you that Alzheimer's and dementia is prevalent on both sides of my family, my extended family. And it truly is a horrible disease, and I really hope, there is a better treatment that we can get to in the next, decade, because it really is. I always tell myself, gosh, could you imagine getting to the point where you have to try to remember what your name is? And what I love about Alicia's family is her mom is a preacher, and she, just is really good at spreading love and positivity, and she's really taken kind of the reins and moving forward with the family. And I know that Alisha is probably the rock of her family and just doesn't realize it, but she's also a rock at our office as well. And so I can't wait to kind of share a little bit more behind the scenes with Alisha with you guys. I've wanted to have her on for a while, and it's finally come true. But before we get to the good stuff, Sam, what was your low?
So I'm just here for anyone that wants to feel better about themselves. On today's episode of Sam is Out of Control, this week I hit an all-time low. I went through a drive-thru, and you know how sometimes drive-thrus have two windows, one to pay and then one to pick up your food? So I went through the drive-thru and I paid, and then I didn't pick up my food. And it wasn't like 25 minutes later, I was like, I am so hungry. And I looked next to me and I was like, oh no, I didn't get my food. And by that point, because I'm not above going back into the drive-thru, I'll pay twice, but I was too far gone and I was already late, so I had to get going. But that was my low. So
I did that recently too. I ordered a Starbucks, except I did pay and get it, but then I put it on the top of my car while I was putting my baby in the car seat and then drove off. Didn't even realize my Starbucks was sayonara until I got to the soccer field and went, where's my Starbucks? Yeah. So whenever I see people's coffee sitting on their car, I'm like, that's so me.
That's great.
All right, my low, I don't know that it was really a low. I'm really trying this year to turn lows into education and learning issues. And, everyone who listens knows that my daughter, does gymnastics and she plays soccer and she's incredibly athletic. And she was really kind of struggling with soccer, and I think that there was kind of a confidence component as well as just kind of getting a little checked out. And, you know, I was having a hard time wondering if my daughter doesn't love the sport that I love so much. And I was kind of watching her just, you know, go down. She was having kind of a hard time with the coaching, and she was getting less and less playing time. And I ended up having a really hard conversation with her coach. And looking back, it was actually a very positive conversation. And, you know, but it's hard hearing things that you don't want to hear about your children. You know, we are parents or mommy and daddy bears. And so even though I agreed with almost the entire conversation, it's the mama bear still kicks in. And, you know, after I kind of processed it, it turned out to be a really good conversation. I think it's the next steps that my daughter needs to continue the growth and the development. She does love soccer, and I think she just kind of was in a headspace that she herself didn't feel she was at the level that some of the other girls were at. And so after I, you know, processed the, you know, in my head, the name calling and, you know, all those things that we all go through, I thought about it and I was like, well, you know what, this is a really good conversation. But it made me think that when I talk to clients, because Sam and I, and even Alisha, we talk about very hard conversations with our clients, whether it's talking about the possibility of losing your children or supervised visitation or someone filed for a move away, domestic violence. We have a lot of really hard conversations. So it was actually a learning moment for me, because I was the person being talked to, is that I really need to put myself in my client's shoes sometimes, because as attorneys we get very, you know, immune to the conversations because we deal with it. And so I think it brought me back into the early years of practicing law and truly brought more empathy and more understanding, and just I used it as a tool. And, you know, all is well with my daughter and I, and it's 7-year-old soccer and we will all live on, but I used it as
It's not just 7-year-old
soccer.
Kristen.
Yeah, for anyone that has a child playing club soccer, it is amazing to me the amount of stress that 7-year-old club soccer can cause a managing partner attorney. But, you know, trying to use hard moments into how to better myself as a human.
That's great. I love that.
All right, Alisha, what is a positive? What was something that made you laugh, smile, feel good about your life?
Like you, I'm learning to find the blessing in every situation. So back to my father, even though, yes, he's dealing with dementia, my siblings and I are communicating. Like, we are in a good place. We're talking, we're not talking at each other. We're actually listening and having those difficult conversations. We're coming together. We hung out just this past weekend without any fights or anything, and apologies were reciprocated, and it was just a beautiful moment with my family. Though my brother still does owe me $50, I totally let it go. You know,
We are beyond that.
Just send him a Venmo request. All right, Sam, what is your positive?
My positive, oh man, there were so many good things that happened to me this week. Well, I have low standards, Alisha, in case you didn't know.
She does not. She's full of it.
So me and my roommate, Ashley, we have been going back and forth, like trying out different movies and stuff. And so this week we were like, let's watch like that movie when you were a little kid that like brings some sort of nostalgia to you. And we stumbled across something last night, is just how weird I was as a little kid, because I couldn't remember the movie until we watched it, because it's been like 15 years, but it was The Labyrinth. I don't know if have you ever seen
that? Yeah.
This is such a weird
weird
movie. I loved this movie. I was like, oh, The Goblin Prince. Anyway, so I had just too much fun remembering Baby Sam.
Yeah, my favorite movie, I think around 5, 6, 7 was Pete's Dragon.
There you go.
Loved that movie.
Yeah, that's semi. I get that one. I'm not sure that I get The Labyrinth.
And I don't think I've watched Labyrinth in like, I don't know, 20 years at least. But
Oh,
it
you gotta go
definitely
back.
wasn't a movie that I would go back and watch repeatedly.
I watched that. I remember growing up, it was Labyrinth, Spice World, and Halloween. Like on repeat.
And she still watches reality shows about cats. You know, but that is
It's
Sam
not
for
cats, Meerkat Manor.
Yeah, so we talked about that on other shows, but yeah, Sam's got a lot of quirky, there's so much to love about Sam.
That's such a nice way to put it.
All right,
There's the positive, Kristen.
This is the new Kristen. Don't you just love it? I'm with Alisha. We have to find the positive because, at the end of the day, life is a crapshoot. It's got good, it's got bad, it's high, it's low, and I'm really consciously, and the funny thing is I was telling Sam the other day, we were getting our nails done, I was like, I've totally turned into a negative Nancy. Like, when did I turn into this girl? And I guess the first part is acceptance, right? I'm now recognizing that I have an issue of being negative, and I'm trying to change it. So, here we go.
Well, you're negative Nancy, but I'm Moody Judy, so.
And there's a reality show coming soon. But I have two really quick positive highs. My son, Brody, who has been waiting to play an organized youth sport for nearly 2 years because of COVID, had opening ceremonies last weekend, and he has his first t-ball game this Friday. He's got to do some soccer privates and stuff like that, but it's been 2 years of watching his sister get to do all these things, and now he gets to play.
Go Brody.
That was very positive. I'm happy that the world is positively moving forward. So that's my other positive.
And if anyone is listening, shame on you. You should be watching our show because we have a fabulous new neon sign. Compliments of Meredith. This thing is special.
And you can go to custodyqueensonair.com to watch this show and all of our past shows. And you can also check out custodyqueens.com where we have webinars and you can just learn a little bit more about Sam and I. And you can also fill out a web inquiry that would set you up with a conversation with Alisha. So Alisha, tell our listeners and our viewers who you are, what you do, and what Sam and I are really like.
Be nice.
Right. Well, so I am a part of the potential client department. We call it the PC team, and I am one of the intake specialists. My job entails me speaking with potential clients, gathering facts about their case, and seeing if there's any upcoming hearings or anything going on. Any immediate work that has to be performed. Check the attorney's calendar, I think is a good fit.
And it's so much more than just checking calendars. When we assign a specific attorney to a case, we look at what judge is that case going to be heard in? Does any of our attorneys appear in front of that judge often that would allow that attorney to know a little bit about the orders the judge makes, or if there's any nuances that judge does, then we look at what is the financial budget of the person calling us. Because obviously we have 25 attorneys, and so we have an attorney that generally is a right fit for every case, every budget, every county. But Alisha, tell us a little bit more of the facts that allows you to set the right attorney for that case.
So if there is a trial on calendar, I'm definitely going to put one of our senior trial attorneys on the case. If there's a domestic violence situation going on, I'm definitely going to consider Attorney Sherry Munson, who was here the prior week. So it just depends on several different factors that's actually going on. If it's a brand new case and we're just dealing with custody and visitation, I would put one of our associate attorneys on that case. But I do run everything by Kristen and Sam just to make sure I'm doing everything correctly, because they can better assess the case and better assess the potential client's notes to see if I am scheduling the potential client with the appropriate attorney.
And Alicia's got a hard job, and we have a wonderful team with Alisha. We have Julia, Tiffany, I don't want to forget anyone, Janelle, Yvonne, Erica, and it makes up this great team. And what they do and what's so hard is that they gather facts, but they gather the right facts, right? So Alisha may be being a little modest right now, but what she does is she asks the right questions, and they're not always the same question. It's a feeling you get when you talk to someone. What's the right fit? She knows all of our attorney personalities. She knows the scheduling. She knows what we're good at. She knows the good area, and so her job is to help make that fit work. And it's not an easy job, right? Because you get a lot of people that are calling in that are very emotional. They want advice immediately. And what Alicia's job really is to do, and our intake team in general, and they do such a fabulous job, we could not function without them, is they gather these facts. They ask the right questions, and they set us up so that Kristen or I or whatever attorney is the best fit for that case can sit down with them, hit the ground running, have a meaningful case plan put in place, and take off with it. So it's an incredible resource that we are very lucky to have. We don't deserve you, Alisha, and we know that. But it really kind of helps make the whole CQ run.
Yeah, and when I interviewed Alisha, gosh, how many years ago? 7, 8? She was one of those people that I hired entirely off of my gut, the vibe I got. And, I hire a lot of employees like that. And, you have other managers that are super concerned with accolades and credentials. And while that is important sometimes, I am someone who really, truly bonds with people over feelings and emotions and just, Alisha can turn a really hard situation. When people are calling us, they are often desperate. They are confused. They're frustrated. They might have just been locked out of a bank account or a house, or they got served from something from another state. But Alisha and Yvonne are our 2 team leaders, and they have done such an incredible job of directing our whole team on how to gather the information. Attorneys' calendars are insane. I can tell you that Sam and I are generally booked every hour on the hour, sometimes into the evenings and sometimes into the weekends. So it's important that I have the information that I need when I'm already going into that call. And sometimes it can be simple as like a personality trait, I don't know that I'm the attorney that will hold your hand every step of the way and pat your back and tell you that, it's going to be okay every day. That is not my personality. I'm very direct. I am aggressive. I'm sure there's other words for me that I shouldn't say on the air.
She gets the job done.
But I'm not someone that's going to rub your back and tell you it's going to be okay every day, because the bottom line is this process is hard, but it's doable with the right attorney and the right team. And so when I listen to Alicia's calls, I'm like, Alisha, sometimes you don't need to spend an hour. And she's like, I just couldn't help it. I just feel, and when you guys talk to her, she comes to Sam and I immediately, and we try to figure out a plan, even if our schedules are insane, to make sure that we take care of everybody that's sending in inquiries and everybody that's calling, and we have a great support staff that helps us do that.
And let me tell you something a little special about Alisha. Alisha loves to walk, and so Alisha loves to pace, and and this is how I know that she's always working, because she walks by my office and she's never not on the phone.
And she has her headset.
Yeah, and she has her headset and she's walking, and I'm a little stressed out for her. I'm like, are you taking down these notes? But you know what you're doing. You're so empathetic with people that are calling in, and it really is a very difficult job. So thank you.
Yeah, when we hired you and been working with you for the last 8 years has been so much fun and so much laughter. And I think that we've even all cried together over things and cases and just hard times. But it's such a pleasure having you on our team and having you help lead the future of Custody Queens for us. So
thank you.
But let's get down and dirty now. Why don't you tell some of the listeners, what is something funny about Sam? I mean, I think I've shared many funny things, but.
And I would say about the both of you, honestly, a lot of stories that myself and the staff has, it involves both of you. So you ladies will literally have a quote unquote disagreement, but you ladies are literally saying the exact same thing to each other. Sam goes to her office, Kristen goes to her office, and literally 5-10 minutes later, you hear Sam yell across the office, "Hey Chris, do you want some coffee?" And everyone literally falls out. And so that's how long your disagreement lasts. I can say that you ladies do work really, really well together. I do learn a lot from you ladies, and I appreciate all of the training, all of the time you ladies do put into not only myself, but the entire staff as a whole.
Kristen and I like to have passionate conversations about important issues is how I would rebrand your disagreement. But no, I mean, Alicia's right. The thing that's so great about our team in general, not just Kristen and I, is that we do challenge each other, right? And it's important because if you aren't ever challenged, you don't ever change, right? So sometimes I need to go, Kristen, you're wrong. And then she goes, no, you're wrong. And here's why. And I need to go, oh, wow, I am wrong. And we move on, but that's what makes us better and pushes us to be better. We are who we are today because we started off not knowing anything and throwing a book back and forth at each other with codes and facts and running to this attorney and running to that attorney and soaking up as much information as we could. And so I hope that we are always perceived that way. I do genuinely hope that we never are too good for a very detailed conversation with one another that is dispassionate and very scholarly.
Yeah, and a little disclaimer is I think Sam and I have been working together, 8-9 years now?
Yeah, forever.
Almost a decade, it feels like. And I think that we've had maybe 5 passionate conversations, in that decade. And it's I probably spend more time with Sam than I do with my own family. And we challenge, not only do Sam and I challenge each other, because sometimes we see things differently. I think that we always come to the same conclusion, but sometimes we see things differently. We have 25 attorneys. Could you imagine what our attorney meetings are like? You get 25 type A personalities, and everybody sees things differently. And that is what's so great about our team, is that Sam will often tell me something that I completely just didn't even come to my attention. And between the two of us, I think we have a pretty solid brain and team working. But I have learned that happy and appreciated employees will return the same back to me. And so I have made it my mission as a leader to be very relatable, to not take life seriously. I don't feel that I am superior to anyone. I try to treat my employees like family. And if something's going on with their family, it doesn't just hurt them, it hurts me. And it's just, that's my passion. We've all worked hard to get here. I wouldn't be where I'm at. Sam and I wouldn't be where I'm at without having such an incredible team behind us. And appreciated people, they're so much more willing to work harder for you and to go the extra mile. And Sam and I wouldn't be where we are without the incredible foundation and the incredible team that we have built. It wouldn't be.
So what's it like to work for us, Alicia?
I would say it's always fresh because it's always new. You ladies are very approachable managers and employers. Just a couple days ago, I think I had a conversation with you, Kristen, where I was like, Kristen, I have a proposal for the potential client department. It's totally your decision, but here are my thoughts. And Kristen is like, okay, give me a minute. Comes back, absolutely, let's try that. So she not only oversees the department, she has an open door policy. I can talk to her about anything, whether it's in regards to work or family, and she just is really there overall. So I absolutely love working for you ladies. Every time I turn around, there is a promotion in order. You ladies love to promote within. There's a new project. There's always something going on. So that's what makes it so fresh. It's never, 2 days are never alike at all. Kristen would say, hey, Alisha, I would like you to oversee this testimonial project. And I'm like, okay, sure, I can do it.
And she kills everything she does because people are gravitated to her and her smile and her laugh and her energy. And they're gravitated. It's kind of like, Tammy, one of our other guests that you guys all heard and loved. It's the same thing. I say, how do you love someone that is asking for money? It's the same thing with Alisha. How do you love someone that's asking you these really, really dark personal secrets that you don't want to talk, to some random person on the phone about? It's just an energy and it's a gravitation. So who drinks more coffee? Because Sam and I are both coffee junkies.
I would say you ladies are on the same level. Both of you ladies have these large coffee cups where it literally takes 2 hands to hold. But I would say you guys are on the same level.
The answer is very clearly me. Kristen might make more coffee, but she doesn't consume more coffee.
Fair.
True.
Fair.
Yeah, I
Fair.
give you that. That's true.
Who's louder?
Oh, come
Definitely Sam. Definitely Sam. You can hear her across the office just laughing.
on. Yeah, I have a cackle. I got a good
What
cackle
is
going.
a personality trait of Sam that you love, or it's quirky, but that makes Sam stand out?
You know what? It is just Sam's overall personality. She's hilarious. She's inviting, but it's just Sam overall, her overall personality. I can't just choose one thing about Sam. Sam is just great.
And she
You're
always
awesome.
leaves toast in the toaster for days at a time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you do.
You can always
Sam.
walk around anywhere in the office, and there's generally coffee that is sitting in the coffee maker that, has cream but was never drank. And there's always keto bread toast sitting in a toaster
Yeah.
that she forgot about.
I like my toast to go, but then I always forget about it.
All right. Is there anything else that you want to share our listeners about, or, that are going to call? How do they talk to you? Do they ask for you?
Oh, absolutely. You can definitely request to speak with Alisha Madden. Just please understand, I hear with my heart. So I would start the conversation off with, please just tell me everything that's going on, whether it's irrelevant or not. It's your story. We can't say if it's irrelevant, but still just tell me anyway. But definitely ask to speak with me. Clear your schedule because we're going to be on the phone for a while.
And there are so many, I talk to so many colleagues, and everyone's always trying to replicate, I think, our process because it is so successful. And a recent attorney tried to actually steal Alisha from me, and it was very interesting of people's approach to how to handle family law, people that are looking to hire an attorney, potential clients as we call them. But oftentimes it's a random service. It's a third-party salesperson that is literally treating you like you're buying a used car or a new car. And I will never do that as long as I live as an attorney, because how do I compare your process and your life that you are so scared to lose, or that you are afraid of the challenges and obstacles? How do I compare that to, a red sale at a car lot?
I have to agree with that. I was approached, and the process was you only have 10 minutes to speak with the potential clients.
10 minutes.
10 minutes. What can I get done within 10 minutes?
Yeah, and there's a lot of attorneys out there, unfortunately. There are a lot of good attorneys, but that's why I always tell people, have a consult, have to find the right fit for you.
Have 2, have 5, and trust your gut, right? It's like that when you find the one, and I love, but when you find the attorney that works for your case, you'll know it. You'll know it. You'll feel heard. You'll have your questions answered, and you shouldn't feel like, I'm not going to know what's going on until I'm formally their client, and I got to hurry up and just agree and give them a credit card. You should not feel like that. You should feel like you know what you're doing, where you're going when you're retaining or getting an attorney.
And have a little bit of peace and familiarity, knowing that when you call the Custody Queens at 1-800-419-7772, that's 1-800-419-7772, you are actually getting the opportunity to talk to Sam and I and Alisha. So you can email Alisha at alisha@custodyqueens.com. And you guys have all of our information. Make sure you're following us on social media, Custody Queens on Air, Custody Queens. We have giveaways. We have so many opportunities to talk to Sam and I over Zoom, in person. It's all there. And if you want to reach out and ask for Alisha, make sure you just let the person answering the phone that you would like to talk to Alisha.
Thank you for being on our show, Alisha.
Thanks for having me.
And thanks everybody for joining us this Saturday and every Saturday on Go Country 105.
And remember,
Let love rule.